As part of today's session, we're going to start Java programming. So in the today's session, we will see what is Java and some basics like what is object-oriented programming, and then we will see how we can install Eclipse and Java, and we will set up the environment, and then we will start. Okay. So that is the agenda for today's session. So the first thing, what is Java? And if you have any queries, use the chat box. At the end of the session, I can unmute and I can ask all the questions, okay? So first let us start with what is Java. So Java is basically called as object-oriented programming language. Object-oriented programming language. So this is the definition. So what is Java? Java is a object-oriented programming language. So what is object-oriented programming language? Normally there are three kinds of programming languages which we have in the market. One is structure-oriented programming languages, object-based programming languages, object-oriented programming languages. These are the three categories of languages which we have in market. So let me just put here. There are three kinds of programming languages: structured, object-based, object-oriented. So structured programming languages, example C and Python. So these languages support structure-oriented programming, and VB script Python will support object-based programming languages. Like Python will also support everything like structured, object-based, object-oriented, everything. And when you come to object-oriented, C++, Java, C#, and Python. So these are the examples of object-oriented programming language. But on what basis we will divide like this? Structured, object-based, object-oriented. So for example, when I say a language is object-oriented programming language, on what basis we can say language is object-oriented? On what basis we can say a programming language is object-based and structure-based? So if any programming language support object-oriented programming concepts, there are certain number of concepts out there, and if any programming language will support those concepts, we call them as an object-oriented programming language. For example, let us say I have 6 different concepts. We call them as object-oriented programming concepts. In shortcut, we can call them as OOPS, object-oriented programming system concepts. Class, object, polymorphism, inheritance, abstraction, and encapsulation. So these 6 concepts are called object-oriented programming concepts. Correct. So if any programming language supports all these features, all 6 features, class, object, polymorphism, inheritance, abstraction, encapsulation, everything, then we can call them as object-oriented programming languages. So those languages will support all these object-oriented programming concepts, and they call them as object-oriented programming languages. So Java will support all these concepts, so that we can call it is an object-oriented programming language. Then what is object-based? So in object-based programming languages, which will support only class and object. It will support only class and object. Rest of the features are not supported. So rest of the features are not supported. So those type of programming languages are called object-based programming languages. So VB script, these are all object-based programming languages. Python also will support class and object. Python will come in every category. Like we can do structure programming, object-based programming, object-oriented programming. Everything we can do using Python. Okay. Now, what is structured programming language? So structured programming languages, it doesn't support any of these concepts. We can still write a programs, but they don't support all these concepts. Class, object, polymorphism, inheritance, abstraction, and encapsulation. So these concepts are not supported in structured programming languages. And except this Python language, Python comes under every category, but other than this Python, rest of the languages. If I look at C language, this is purely structure-oriented programming language. Similarly, if I look at VB and VB script, these are purely object-based oriented programming languages. object-based programming languages, so that it will support only class and object. And object-oriented means it will support all 6 concepts like C++, Java, C#, and these are all purely object-oriented programming languages. And Python is also object-oriented programming language. So Python is order which comes under every category. We can do structured programming without using class and object. Also we can write a programming by using class and object we can do. But we can also use other concepts, other object-oriented programming concepts in Python. So this is a basic categorization. Okay. So what is object-oriented programming? What is the definition is? As per definition, Java is a object-oriented programming language. Why it is object-oriented programming language? Because which will support all object-oriented programming concepts. Which will support all types of programming, all types of object-oriented programming concepts. So that is the reason we call it as a purely object-oriented. Purely object-oriented means what again? So without a class, we can't write a single line of code in Java. Without a class, we cannot write a single line of code in Java. So which is purely object-oriented programming language. But when you look at C++ or Python or C#, they are not purely, they are object-oriented, but without using class, without creating class also, we can write a program. So Java is purely object-oriented programming language because without creating the class, we cannot write a single line of the code in Java. So that we can call it as an object-oriented programming language. Okay. So now we have understood what is object-oriented programming language. If any language supports these 6 object-oriented programming features, those type of languages called as object-oriented programming languages. So later we will try to understand all these features and we are going to learn all these features from Java programming. Okay. So these are all object-oriented programming concepts. Class, object, polymorphism, inheritance, abstraction, and then encapsulation. So Java will support all these features so that we can call it as a purely object-oriented programming language. Now, what are the different features are there for Java? What are the different features of Java? What it will support, what it will not support. There are mainly 2 features we can discuss. One is platform independent. This is one of the most important feature from Java. Platform independent. So what is platform independent means? Platform independent means we can install Java on any type of operating system. It will support Windows, it will support Mac, it will support Unix, it will support Linux. Almost every operating system it will support. That's the one thing. Second thing is, if you write your Java program on Windows, the same Java program we can execute on other operating systems. So you don't need to change the code from one operating system to another operating system. You don't need to change anything. The same piece of code, whatever you have written, the same program, you can easily execute on different platforms without doing any change. So that particular feature is called platform independent. Platform independent means what? We can execute the same Java program if you write somewhere, and if you write a program in one environment, same program we can execute in different type of environments. So that is called platform independent feature. This is one of the most popular and important feature from Java. Second feature is Java is case sensitive language. Case sensitive language. This is another feature of Java. So case sensitive means what? It will differentiate lower and uppercase characters. It will consider lower and uppercase characters differently, which is basically called as case sensitive language. Suppose if you write something, suppose I create some variable called x equal to 10, and this is one character. Suppose if I create one more x equal to 10. So here the x is small case and here x is uppercase. Both will be treated differently. That's called case sensitive language. And if you look at some other languages like Python or other languages, they are not case sensitive languages. Especially when you look at VB or VB script, they are not case sensitive language. Means what? You can write the code either in uppercase characters or either in small case characters will be treated will be treated same. But in Java, it's not like that. So Java programming is case sensitive. Java language is case sensitive. So lowercase and uppercase characters will be treated differently. So that you need to remember. So these are the main two important features. Platform independent and Java is a case sensitive language. Okay. Now, in Java, normally we hear three different type of DOMs: JDK, JRE and JVM. So these are three important components which we have to understand from Java. Components. And interview perspective, these are most important. So please remember this. Three components. And somewhere in the internet you may see these particular terms. One is JDK, second one is JRE, and the third is JVM. So these are three different inner components of Java. JDK, Java Development Kit. The full form is Java Development Kit. JRE means Java Runtime Environment. And the third, JVM, means Java Virtual Machine. So these are the three different components which we have in Java: JDK, JRE and JVM. So let us try to understand this. For interview perspective, this is most important. What is JDK, JRE and JVM? JDK means this is a Java Development Kit. This is a full-fledged Java software. Suppose if you want to download Java software from internet, you have to download JDK. So you don't see Java download anywhere else. You can see JDK. So JDK is representing a full-fledged, the complete Java software which we have to download and install. JDK means what? Java Development Kit. So if you want to write your Java programs, or if you want to execute it, or if you want to develop any Java-based applications, we have to download and install JDK, Java Development Kit. The full software is required. So whenever you want to develop any Java-based applications, you have to download and install JDK. That's the first component, this full software. Now, second is JRE, Java Runtime Environment. So sometimes, suppose there is some application which is already developed using Java itself, which is already developed. Now I want to download that application. I want to install that application in your local system, right? I want to download and install Java-based application, which is already developed by somebody else. So to install that application, to run that application, you need to provide certain environment. That is called JRE. So for example, somebody is developed a Java application which is already there in internet. You have downloaded some executable file or something. And before installing that software, you have to install JRE. You have to provide Java Runtime Environment. And once you have Java Runtime Environment, then you can install that particular software and you can run it. And here, you are not developing the software. You are just installing the software which is already developed by somebody else. So to run that particular Java software, the software which is developed by using Java, if you want to run that in your local system, you need to install only JRE, Java Runtime Environment. You don't need to install a complete JDK software, just you need to have only JRE component. You can install only JRE. That will provide you the environment on which you can install and run your Java-based applications. And if you install JDK, by default, you will get JRE. You don't need to install JRE separately. Means JRE is a subset of JDK. For example, let us look, this is your JDK software, and which contains the JRE itself. So if you install JDK, Java Development Kit, by default, you will get JRE along with the JDK. And if you want to develop any software, any Java-based application, anyway you have to install JDK. Along with, you will by default get JRE. It is a sub-component of JDK. Suppose I don't want to develop any applications. I just want to run my Java application. Somebody is developed and I just want to install it and I want to run that application. Then you can install only JRE separately. Okay, you can install only JRE part separately. This is a subcomponent in JDK. So these are the two components. One is for developing a Java-based applications. Another is for running a Java-based applications. And if you want to develop the Java applications, you have to install JDK. And if you just want to run the Java-based application, you don't want to develop anything, then you can just install only JRE, runtime environment. Now JVM. So JVM is a Java virtual machine. Java virtual. Virtual means what? Invisible. Virtual means invisible. Java virtual machine. This is a main component of Java. This is a part of JRE. JVM. It is not a separate or a piece of software which we can install. So by default, the JVM comes along with the JRE itself. But means if you install JDK, you will automatically get JRE in JVM. If you install JRE, you will get a JRE and a JVM. But JVM you cannot install separately. JVM is not a physical software which we can download and install. It is a part of entire Java. So Java virtual machine. So what is the main purpose of this component? Suppose when you write your Java program, normally we use English language, English statements, like a class or indoor like that. So we will write some Java code like this by using English statements. But machine cannot understand this. So machines cannot understand this English language. So this should be converted into some other language which the machine can understand, which we can call it as a bytecode. Okay, this is simple in English language. We will write our Java program, but machines cannot understand this. So somebody should convert this program into bytecode. So the bytecode, in a sense, what this code can understandable by any machines. It can be any type of operating systems. So this bytecode will be actually executing internally by Java. But who is converting this? Somebody should convert this English to bytecode, and this bytecode will be executed internally. And this is platform independent. So who is doing this? JVM is doing it. So JVM is responsible for many things. JVM is responsible for compiling our code. Compiling means what? It will check, is there any syntactical errors are there in the program also. So if you write some mistakes or if you do some mistakes in your right program, it will easily identify and notify you. That's the first thing. And once you write your program, once you execute it, the code is converted into bytecode. The code will be converted into bytecode format. And that is also done by the JVM. After converting this bytecode, the bytecode will be executed and finally provide the result. That is also done by the JVM. So the whole responsibility of Java will be taken care by JVM. We can say this is the heart of Java. So without having JVM, there is no Java. So JDK means what? Java Development Kit. This is a full-fledged Java software. JRE means Java Runtime Environment, which will provide the environment where we can run our Java-based application, which is already developed. JVM is Java Virtual Machine. This is a part of JRE, which is responsible for converting our program or code into bytecode format that the machines can understand. And it is also responsible for compiling our code. Compilation means what? It will check whether our code is having some mistakes or not, syntactical errors, it will verify and execute our program and finally provide the result. So these things will be done by the JVM itself. So these are the three main components which we have to remember from Java. So JDK, JRE and then JVM. JDK means Java Development Kit, Java Runtime Environment, Java Virtual Machine. Virtual machine means it is invisible. Virtual means invisible. It is not a physical software which is already part of JRE and JDK. Now which one we have to download? Now we want to develop some application. We want to write our Java code. We want to execute our program. So which one we have to need? Which one we need? JDK. So we have to download and install JDK, which will come along with the JRE as well as JVM. Guys, you understood now what is JDK, JRE and JVM? Everyone please confirm in the chat box. So what is the difference between JDK, JRE and JVM? Most important, most popular interview question. What is JDK? What is JRE? What is JVM? What are the difference between JDK, JRE and JVM? Okay. Now, so which one we have to download now? JDK we have to download. JDK means Java Development. Okay. Now let us start downloading and set up environment. So before setting up the environment, so what are the things we need? So mainly Java is having two, we can divide entire Java into two different parts. This is our just logical division. One is, we can say, core Java. The entire Java concepts we can divide into two parts. Core Java concepts, and the second is advanced Java concepts. Core Java, advanced Java concepts. Overall, the entire thing is Java only, but some concepts which comes under core Java, we divide them into core Java concept. They are basics from Java, and some of the concepts are advanced. So for example, if you look at core Java, under core Java, we are going to learn the language fundamentals. Language fundamental means what? Like operators, data types, conditional statement, variables, okay, looping statements, arrays concept, how to work with the strings, and all object-oriented programming concepts, right? So these are all comes under core Java concepts. Now when you go to advanced Java, so there are some more advanced concepts like collections, data structures, JDBC, swing. Okay, these are all concepts which are required for development purpose. But as per the testing perspective, we don't need advanced Java concepts. We can still manage with the core Java concepts. If you know the basic object-oriented programming concepts, they are more than enough in automation. Okay, so we are going to learn core Java concepts. All the concepts in core Java we are going to learn. So before that, we have to set up the environment. So to set up environment, to write your Java program, to run your Java program, so what are the things we need? First thing, we have to download JDK. That means what is JDK? Whenever I say JDK, you have to remember that is your Java software environment setup. So there are two softwares we require. One is JDK, which is basically Java software we require to install. Second is IDE. IDE means Integrated Development Environment. Means there is a software which we need to write you and run your Java program. For example, I'm writing some notes here. So to write some notes, I'm using some notepad, right? And similarly, if you want to write your Java program, or if you want to execute your Java program, if you want to see the result from the Java program, you need a kind of editor, a tool or a software that is called as IDE, Integrated Development Environment. So Eclipse is a very popular environment, especially for Java. So many people will use Eclipse. And there are other softwares also there in the market. For example, IntelliJ IDE. Okay, and there are so many stuff. These are two popular stuff, but there are many more IDEs. You can use any of the IDEs. Even VS Code editor also you can use for Java. But these are the two popular editors which are there in the market. And Eclipse is more popular for Java developers and Java program. So we have to first install Java or JDK. And the second is we have to install one IDE. It can be Eclipse or it can be IntelliJ IDE. So initially we will start with Eclipse, and once you are familiar with Eclipse, after a few sessions I will also introduce how to install IntelliJ IDE and how to write a program, how to execute and how to use that environment in IntelliJ IDE. So we'll also cover these two in the coming sessions. But initially we will start with the Eclipse, okay, how to install Eclipse, and we will see how to create a project, how to run the project, how to create a Java program and so on. Alright, so these are the two important softwares which we need to start with Java. Okay, so first let us start download and installing JDK. But before that, we need to know what are the different versions are there in JDK. What are the different versions are there in the JDK? So if you look at versions, Java versions, from Java 8 So Java 1 to 8, all these versions all comes from Sun Microsystems. This is the company actually. Sun Microsystems. From Java 1 to 8, all these versions are comes from Sun Microsystems, and that time Java is available as an open source software. There is no license for that. After Java 8, from Java 9 onwards, Oracle companies acquired Java. That means Oracle companies acquired Sun Microsystems. So now Sun Microsystems merged into Oracle software. Oracle is a company which is basically develop the database related softwares. We will know already. Oracle is one of the database which is popular database which is developed by using Oracle company, right? So Oracle is acquired Sun Microsystem, is merged into Oracle, and then onwards Java software is comes under Oracle company. So Oracle is owned Java software. So after Java 9, there are so many versions are released into market, but as per Selenium standard, the basic version which we need to have is Java 11. So from Java 11 onwards, whichever the latest version which we have, we can still use with Selenium. So I can say JDK 11 plus. Plus means after JDK 11. From JDK 11, 12, 13 up to 20th. I think currently 20 or 21 version is currently going on in the market. So whichever version is available, you can use that version. Any version is compatible with Selenium after JDK 11. So JDK 8, 9 and 10, these support is not there. So recently they have announced. So the old versions of Java support is not there with Selenium. So the latest announcement from Selenium guys is JDK 11 onwards we can use any software. So JDK 11 plus any version we can use. This is preferable for Selenium. Okay, that's the first thing. And the second thing is we can install JDK whichever version you want after Java 11. And Eclipse we can always get the latest version. Whichever the latest version is available, we can get. And both are open source. Both are open source. Okay. Now, first let us start download Java and install it. I will show you step by step and you can just look at it, and after completion of the session, you guys can try this, and also I will share the document which contains all the screenshots, the step by step screenshot, whatever I'm doing here. Okay.